Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. I just finished making my rant video about Weta collectibles and how they, screwed me on this particular product that I had to go from, I had to go to eBay to get because they refused to do the right thing and replace their mistake. So here we're gonna have, I want to go on a bit more positive direction, do a nice little video review. I think this actually, funnily enough, I think this is my first mini Helm review, which is, I guess a little bit unfortunate. I'm doing it out of order. I think I put through a couple of bust reviews from the original Sideshow Weta line, and they were kind of random. A lot of them are behind, glass in my display cabinet, so it's kind of a pain in the butt to take out, but I should actually make the time to do that. I have all of the mini busts, or all of the mini busts, the so-called quarter scale busts from the original Sideshow Weta Lord of the Rings line, and I have all of the mini helms from the entire Lord of the Rings and Hobbit line as well. Even the helms that only come with the big statues. I have the battle orc, the warlord or the war orc or whatever you want to call that, the war troll, not the orc, the battle troll. And there's a helm for the battle troll that only comes with the statue, like $1,000+ statue. I have that, and I have the little armor plating on top of the fell beast bust as well. So I have all of those mini helms, and I guess since this is my first mini helm review, I guess I'll just take this opportunity to talk about the original line. So in addition to the 1/6 scale statues from the original Sideshow Weta line that they started releasing back in 2001 with Fellowship of the Ring, they also released a whole bunch of other things. They released the mini helm line at the time. They released these plaques where they showed the armor of different characters, Aragorn's armor, Legolas's armor. They're called weapon plaques, or the small weapons. They also released these medallions as well that are supposed to be displayed. So there was a lot of interesting stuff that they released, in not just the 1/6 scale statues. And the mini helms were very attractive because, number one, they were very small. They're basically about this size. That's number one. Number two, they were actually quite cheap, reasonably inexpensive. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was something pretty crazy. I think it was it got down, I think it was almost it was something like $25 per helm. And maybe if you add a tax and ship, whatever, it might bump up to 30 something, but it was very, very cheap. And the most amazing thing, and this was something a lot of people slept on, and those who didn't buy it wouldn't understand, is that all of the original mini helms were all made out of metal, casting metal. So, beautifully painted, but they each had this amazing weight, and it felt really solid. It felt just so awesome. There was this heavy weight in your hand, and then you had the detail of the helms, and it was in metal. It was really, really cool. And so when you couple that with the size, the display, the efficiency of display size, the display footprint, so to speak, and the price, they were very popular, or at least I really loved them. And so I did a check, and again, this is kind of interesting because you can't really find now on the internet a complete list of all of these. It's really hard to find. But finally I did find it, and it confirmed my memory, is that the original line, which included Gandalf's hat and the crown of King Elisar, and all of those, when the initial Sideshow Weta line kind of drew to a close, there was a total of 37 mini helms. Okay, 37 mini helms. And then with the Hobbit, they decided to not only create new mini helms from the Hobbit movies, but also go back and sort of close the gap on some of the mini helms from the original Lord of the Rings that they never had a chance to make. And this is what brings us to this mini helm right here. This is called the mini helm. This is called the helm of the Ringwraith of Khand, Khand, and this is one of the Ringwraiths at Dol Guldur. That was from the Hobbit movies. It's been a while since I've watched the Hobbit. I didn't love those movies as much as the Lord of the Rings, and I ever only watched the movies once each, I think. And so I don't remember if every Ringwraith got their own unique armor and name. And I'm going to go through all of these eventually, but I remember Kamul, the Easterling, and the Ringwraith of Harad, the Ringwraith of Khand, the Ringwraith, I guess the Witch King Ringwraith itself, and I think the Ringwraith of Forod, or Forod, F-O-R-O-D, Forod. And so there were 5 for sure that had dedicated names and mini helms. And I don't know what happened to the other 4. Maybe the 5 were the only ones that we were ever privileged to see in The Hobbit. But this is the one from Khand. And again, if you look at it, it's really, really cool, very beautifully designed. And so when you look at it, it's very beautiful. I'm going to gently take it off. I'm going to put it on the the table, and then all of the mini helms have this sort of standard base. If you look at the bottom, you can see that this is the helm of the Ringwraith of Khand. It's edition number 223 out of 646. It gives you the signature of the sculptor, Gary Hunt, and then Weta Workshop, The Hobbit. Okay, and what's the very bottom here? Okay, just like, I guess, copyright stuff. Okay, so this is the base. And there's going to be a lot less than 646 of this, because somewhere in one entire batch, and I don't know whether it's like 100 of them or 50 of them, they mixed up the actual packaging with the mini helm. And so they screwed up both the Harad mini helm as well as the Khand mini helm, and they mixed them up. They put like the wrong mini helm with the wrong base, the wrong color box, the wrong shipper, and that's kind of the mistake that I got. And if you want to learn all about that, you can click on that video that's earlier than this. It'll tell you in excruciating detail what happened. But keeping it focused on just the Khand one, you can see kind of the distressed metal, the paint. It's actually really well done. I'm going to try to close up as much as I can. You can definitely kind of see all the weathering. And that was kind of the charm of the original mini helms, is that they were weathered, they were dull, they looked like little artifacts. So again, you can kind of see here, the I don't even know what you call that thing, like the tunic or whatever that's on the inside of the helm. That's like really, really well done. You can see the holes in it. And then of course the actual helm itself, sort of beautifully distressed, very nice clean casting, nicely painted. You can actually see sort of the wear and tear and the rust. Really, really nice, interesting, nice and interesting art design to make each of these Ringwraith helms unique. And you can see the spiky, the rosin going back. Now, again, the big problem with this mini helm, as with all the mini helms in the line, is that I would be over the moon, okay, with this if it was in metal. But again, to save money or whatever reason they wanted to give, all the new mini helms after the original 37, when they restarted the line, all the mini helms are basically like cheap plastic, like vinyl. And so they're very, very light. And the argument is like, well, who cares as long as they look amazing, and they do look very, very good. Like it's not like you're gonna be like, handling these helms. That's not part of it. But I would beg to differ. I would beg to say that the tactile sensation and the weight of these collectibles, that they do matter. is even if it's just for the person who owns them. And it's not just simply about the visuals. And when you feel it in your hand, it just feels so unbelievably cheap. And of course, they charge premium. Like, these things are going with shipping and tax or whatnot. They're going for easily $120 per mini helm, which is quadruple to quintuple the price of the original mini helm. And then to add insult to injury, to then just make it like, vinyl or plastic, is just a pretty tough pill to swallow. So it's always difficult because it looks beautiful, it looks great, but then the material is just so cheap. And the reason I bring this up is I want you to kind of look at this over here, so you see how these are not perfectly lined up, they're a little bit off, right? And again, the reason they're off is because this is plastic, and plastic can warp under temperatures, and the way you cast it is different. And so because of this, it's again not perfectly symmetrical, and it should be actually like that, right? This asymmetry is not actually part of, I think, the design, but you'll see this on a lot of other little tiny helms, especially with the ones with a lot of different spikes. That when it's not metal and it's just cheap plastic, you're going to see this type of problem here. Now, granted, it is a little nitpicky detail, but it does matter. You can see that. Look at that from the side. You can clearly see again how it's a little bit off, and this is the sort of quality that is a little bit disappointing, and would not be a problem if it was in metal, one of the older like Lord of the Rings style mini helms. So I just wanted to kind of point that out to say that, yeah, it's not purely just a visual medium, but that these things do matter as well in terms of how they come out. But there you have it. These are this is one of the Ringwraith ones. I've kind of given you a nice overview, hopefully giving you sort of the background of the mini helms. A lot of people gave up on them after they found out how much they were going to cost and how crappy the material was going to be. But as one of the few here who own all of them, I stuck it out. God only knows how many people like me are there out there who actually own every single one of these. I'm sure there's a lot of attrition. But yeah, I'm still one of the guys who's locked in, buying every single one. I have to think that after a while, this line is going to eventually close. I think the newest release, number 19 and 20, they're really, kind of dipping the bottom of the barrel. The newest release is the Crown of King Theoden, which at least came from Lord of the Rings. And then this, mystical Rohirrim helm of Arwen, when they were going to make Arwen, go to Helm's Deep and fight in the Battle of Helm's Deep, which was thankfully scrapped. And they actually are going to, give us the helm that they designed for that, that particular treatment of the story that never occurred. So when you're doing that, you're running out of ideas. You're running out of helms to show. Now I understand the Arwen version because, again, this was so serious a treatment that they were actually got to the point where they were designing her armor. And I guess they didn't want to waste it, but that's number 1920. So 20 of the newer versions from the Hobbit and some of the Lord of the Rings ones, and 37 of the old series is a total, of course, of 57 mini helms total. But the 20, not quite the same because, again, they're plastic, they're not metal. So hopefully you found this somewhat interesting. There's not a lot of YouTube videos on these mini helms. I think there's like one other guy who does them, and I don't think he has as many as I do. I think he started the game a little bit later than me, but he does a couple of nice ones as well. But in any case, this here is my series. Again, Wolf Out of Order. And eventually I might actually do a video where I show you all 57. That'll be a blast to go through. I'm gonna need a lot of table space for that. But for now, I'm just gonna do these little quick ones. The next ones will be a bit shorter, but for here at least, this is, the start of the mini Helm series. And it'll be sporadic. I'll do a couple, then I'll go on to other things. I'll do a couple, go on to other things. But eventually you're going to get all 57 of them, hopefully. All right, thanks for your attention. And until next time, do take care.